Interesting footage of Oleksandr Usyk that we're seeing in the Usyk-AJ rematch.
He looks big.
Exactly.
Yeah, he looks big.
A lot bigger, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
How do you think that will affect things? And I guess that the game plan is to absorb more of AJ's power and punches.
It shows intent, doesn't it? What he wants to do. I think his tactics are clear now. See, as Cruz, I'll let you girls talk, honestly. Actually, I will let you talk. What do you think?
Is it going to be a downfall? Is it going to take away his speed, his movement? I don't know.
Nah, you're not going to lose your movement like that overnight, are you? He's put a bit of weight on, but like you said, I think he's done it purposely to absorb some of AJ's shots. He's such a slick boxer, the way he moves, his boxing IQ, Usyk's is unbelievable. I think AJ needs to change his tactics, obviously.
What adjustments do you think he needs to make?
I think he needs to try and steamroll through Usyk.
He needs to go and go again, rather than,
from the start.
Double up, 100%.
He needs to be fit, like, as fit as he's ever been, to keep doing that two-phase attacks going and going again.
Fraser Clark did say that he's been putting in the miles running and trying to sort of build up his fitness that way.
I'm worried though, if he thinks I've got to be fit and I've got to fill my tank up and I've got to that he goes in light. But you think, okay, you need to be light. I don't think you can match Usyk for that. I almost go back to be an 80s heavyweight. And just, the 80s heavyweights, they wouldn't jab you to the face, they'd jab you on the shoulder, they'd hit you off balance, use that weight. I think he has to try and do that. And I think go and go again, what you said there, Lauren, is brilliant because, like, I say he's got to be aggressive. We're all saying the same thing, we all know.
He's got to be smart when
he's got to be aggressive. But he was never the guy who just ran at people, was he? He was always like boxed beyond the jab and in and out with his feet. And I think that's,
double up.
Yeah. But with Usyk, though, you double up again, you hit him once, you go double up again, or you miss once, you go double up again, and he's here.
Just got to make sure you're front foot and you're cutting him off, right, because he likes to be on the outside, skirting round, even if he's just, flicking the jab out, or he might not even be throwing much, but that movement is obviously taking, the eye from AJ, his foot off the game. So I just think, like, AJ just needs to make sure he's in range, and like I said, when he does catch him, he just got to go again.
There were question marks in the first fight whether AJ had enough experience fighting southpaws, but apparently he's up that again in this camp. He's over in Saudi. He's been sparring a tricky German, Shokran Pawani. So he's obviously getting more and more focused on that, which he needed to do. The one thing that we were talking about before we came in here, and it's something that Tony Bellew mentioned before, the one thing that Usyk has is that mental pressure. He can tire you out in the ring.
He uses the footwork, he puts that front foot. Golovkin does it, they all do it different ways, but all those sort of like old Eastern Bloc fighters do it. They put the front, this is the amateurs, they put the front foot in the centre of your stance, so you feel the panic. So when you want to throw punches, you want to stay nice and relaxed, and you throw them at your own speed. Even if they're light and they're fast punches, you've had the thought before you've thrown it. But when someone's putting you under pressure, you throw it at a necessity, not when you want to. So that messes with your rhythm, tires you out, and your breathing, and you're always struggling with your breathing. So being a reactive fighter like I was, I know how difficult that is. And he does that to you. So fights are close. The Bellew fight, turned tremendously well, just in case he's listening. But ultimately, look at the scorecards were close. But in reality, Usyk's made him put his foot on the pedal from the first bell, and he's busting a gut just to stay into a close fight. When Usyk pretty much haven't done hardly anything, and then from whether it takes him 4 rounds, 6 rounds, 8 rounds, your tank will empty at some point, and he's either winning the round, but if winning the fight close or losing it very close, and then once you're tired, he goes boom. And Joshua was all over the place in the last round, not all over the place dramatically, but he was hurt in the last round, and I think Usyk's put the weight on because Usyk as a cruiserweight would block and hit you. He wasn't the Lomachenko of the cruiserweights like people try and make out. He has great footwork, but not the same. He would block and he'd walk you down. He'd slip and slide. And he's brilliant. But a lot of it because he just put you under pressure, and I think he put on bulk to try and do that to Joshua. I feel.